Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. How are you? I'm glad you're here. Let's talk. We got to get into a couple of things. I apologize for the schedule being slightly different than usual. I know we usually have Crown Chat around this time and sometimes a little bit earlier, but today we're doing things a little different. One, one is because I did have a therapy appointment this morning. So that kind of threw my schedule off. And two, because I want to talk about some other things. And I really didn't know how to fit them in. Hey, Susan. So now we're going to discuss them at this hour. So we're going to give it an hour. We're going to have a talk. And I want you guys to be interactive with me because I want to know what you're thinking. The topics that we're covering today, it affects most of us. Most of us are mothers. Now, there's some ladies here who are not mothers, but most of us are mothers. So these topics affect us. They should concern us because we have children in the school system. And I want us to ask some pertinent questions and dig into some of these horrible things that have been going on. So that's why I said, can we talk if y'all don't mind? So we're going to get into it today. Light housekeeping. If you've already hit the like button, I thank you. If you haven't hit it, it's not too late. Go ahead and hit that like button. I truly appreciate it. And I thank you in advance. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and channel membership is available in the description box below by the join button or by the membership tab on this page. Also, guys, I was slightly held up by your friend Uggs. She started screaming and Emerald was not here to entertain her, so I ended up cat sitting. So yay me, right? So before I get into it, let me speak to everybody. Y'all know how I am. I got to greet you before we just start talking because I am truly happy to see each and every one of you. Vita's here from Denver. Hi, Vita. Hey, Tina, how you doing? We still waiting on an invite over there for one of your lives. Hey, Wani, how are you? Jam, good to see you. S. Collins. Hi, sis. Queen Mermaid, how are you? Miss Sparkle, Mary Kay lady, good to see you. Tasha Renee, hey, girl. JC is in the building. You know, we always happy when we can get JC in here. She ain't working. Chanel D. Queen, that's what's up. Lala, how are you? Easy breezy, our mom to be. How is our little one today? Fly Gray Streets Plans, how you doing? My small space, hello. My dear sister Susan, hello, how are you? Alita, hey girl. Marva, you made it. Morgan's Musings, hi. Nacho Twins mama, how you doing? Good to see you. Quiet Storm 87. Love my dogs too. Veronica Barnes. Happy to see you. D.O. Cutie Pie 21. Hello. How are you doing? Good to see you today. Jesse X. Glad to have you. There's my sister Angie all the way from Miami, Florida. Okay. Brittany M. How are you? Leslie. How you doing, girl? Savvy Mama's in the building. I also see, who else I got? Savvy Mama's here. Happy to be happy. Karen Frazier, good to see you guys. All right, Megan is here. Hey, Megan. Ray. Girl, where's your crown? Holla at me if you need me to help you with that because I see your crown is missing. All right, G. Darling, good to see you. All right. There's my sister Spiller. So listen, I got y'all in here. Let's have a little talk. Mother to mother, sister to sister, right? I know some of our fellas may come wandering in, and anyone else who comes in and I haven't greeted them. Hey, Cece Miller. Hey, Latavia. If anyone else comes in and I haven't greeted them, please, you all greet them for me. Make sure everyone who comes into our midst feels welcome at all times. There's my Christian Key. Hey, sis. Good to see you. So listen, I was having a good conversation with one of our kinfolks. And the conversation came up about the shooting that took place in Arlington. I don't want to get into the whole active shooter situation and talking about that part of it so much because I think that part of the story, in most cases, is oftentimes sensationalized. It can be beaten to death. And I'm not saying it's not important. Definitely important. Hey, Lorene. But I want to know what exactly is going on with these schools that these children are going to this extent. That's not the only thing that got my attention. Hey, DT, I'm glad to see you. All right. I appreciate. Yeah, I know you're all the way in New Zealand, but you're always here for us. So I'm gonna fill you in as best I can on the situations without digging too deep. But I want us to take a look and examine what is really going on in these schools and what can we do as mothers to kind of stay on top of things because it's getting out of hand, and that's clear. Hey, Jay Stokes. Okay, we got to dig into what's really going on. So I want to mention that situation. Oh, there's Ray Ray. Got your crown back, girl. I had you back if needed be. You know we love you. Y'all welcome her back, but she ain't really went nowhere. That's our sister, and we love you. So I want to talk about that situation, but also because that happened on October the 6th. But some of you are aware. Hey, Kia. Hey, Miss Netta. Hey, Auntie Eva. Some of you are aware there was another shooting that took place on October 1st here in Houston at Yes Prep, which is a school, I think it's one of the charter schools here, if I'm not mistaken, right? So what we want you to understand, what I want you to get from this is there are two very disturbing elements in both of these stories. And I don't think they're kind of being looked at the way I would like for us to take a look at them. So I'm here to shine my floodlight on it. Now, in the situation in Arlington, Mansfield ISD, and for those of you who are not Texans, hi, Teresa. ISD is Independent School District. Some of y'all are Texas folks, so y'all know what I mean. Teresa says, they don't have the staff. Kids are uncontrollable after a year with their parents. That's part of it, sis, but I think there's more. And I could be wrong, but I just think there's more. My antennas have gone up. The mama in me, my antennas are making noise because something is not right. Or as we used to say, something in the milk ain't clean. Okay? Now, in the situation over at Timberview High in Arlington, in Mansfield ISD, there was an 18-year-old young man who committed the act, who actually committed the shooting, okay? Now, the young man is stating that he was being bullied and robbed because he was well-to-do or came from a comfortable family. I can't say well-to-do based on the information given, not being honest. It doesn't add up for me, but we know how it can look in certain areas. Says he was in like a $400,000 house and he was driving a $35,000 Dodge Charger, which is a nice car. It's a nice car. And we know that in real life, that's probably middle class. But in certain areas that can be considered well-to-do. Okay? And apparently, according to his family, hey, Winnie, okay, the young man was being bullied, picked on, robbed on a daily basis. I would like more information on that as far as that part goes. But the part that stuck out to me, hey, LEL, you say you're not buying the bullying narrative. Well, I got some more on it. And things that I don't know. Well, I don't know if we can make anybody innocent in this situation because I have questions about him too. But as far as the school system and the schools go, how is this possible? And they're saying that it was reported to the schools daily. Hey, New Year's Day. If it was being reported to the school, what was the school doing about the situation? I don't understand exactly how that could even be happening and folks be unaware. They're claiming it was reported. I'm not saying they lying. I'm not saying they telling the truth. Hey, Barbara Parker. Hey, Cheryl Cooper. But something about the story is uncomfortable. Hey, Juanita. Something about the story is very uncomfortable. One, there's the element of the young man saying he was being bullied and robbed. I don't know. There was a statement from a family member saying they're surprised that he did not commit SCUICIDE. You can't say certain words. Ms. Waki, how are you? I'm glad you made it. All right, 10:45 in South Africa. I'm glad you're here, sis. But that's the question. How is this happening? How is it reported to the schools and nothing took place? That's one. The other question I got is, how did that young man get a gun, a pow-pow, onto campus? How is this possible? Now, I've heard a couple of different stories. I'm hearing that he went to his car to retrieve it. Then I heard he had it in his book bag. Either way, there's questions as to what exactly is going on in the school systems. How is it possible for these young people to bring firearms onto campus? Now, this is just one thing that we're looking at, but this is a situation that keeps recurring. We hear on a regular basis, and all too regular basis, about school shootings. And there are children that are bringing firearms and discharging firearms in the presence of other children. Something's not right with what's going on. Okay? Hey, Miss Sparkle. She says the reports are not being taken serious. They need to, because these children are not normal. And when I say they're not normal in the sense that they're going to call the police or they're going to go further up the chain of command. They're going to do something that's extreme that can cause a whole lot of heartbreak. LEL says, but I'm just confused as to why this boy was still attending that school if his family members knew it was that bad. That's the other question. Why did the family allow the child to remain in a situation where he's being robbed and picked on, to the extent that you were afraid that he might even self-harm or take his life? Something is going on that's very terrible. And I think as mothers, we need to be paying attention. We have children too. Now, y'all know, those of us of a particular age, we know there was a time you didn't hear about little black babies harming themselves that way. But we know that is no longer the truth. And oftentimes we hear about it, unfortunately. So we had better start paying attention to what's going on at these schools. And definitely, as the parents of these children, if your baby comes home and they're telling you people are picking on them, take it serious. You know, back in the day, if somebody picked back, your mama jokes, you did a little joning, you might have a fist fight and things moved on. The world has changed and our children don't have that response to being picked on anymore. So we need to take it more serious. DT says the real question should be, how was he allowed to even possess a gun in the first place? And that's the next question. Why was an 18-year-old allowed to buy a gun? Was it legal? Was this firearm purchased at a gun show? Was it purchased on the street? How did a child, 18 or not, how did this 18-year-old young man come into possession of something so deadly? Well, here's the problem. They're making calls now, Ms. Sparkle, for metal detectors. I would think with all of the reports of active shooters on campus that metal detectors should have been a foregone conclusion. Thank you. This is where I'm coming from. It's too easy for these weapons to be brought into the schools. It's too easy. And it's true, they can. But the whole story is disturbing. Miss Netta says a lot of children are carrying them in their book bags. We've been having a lot of problems here with that in North Carolina. There's also a big shooting around here back in September. You see what I'm saying? The fact that these kind of things are happening and they're becoming so frequent, mothers are going to need to step up and find out what we can do to change what's happening with these children. It's very dangerous. And I think that the school environment at times has become harmful for our children. They have to go. They need an education. We pray for them to get an education, to further their educations, to start businesses, great careers, and all of that. These are the things that we expect and we pray for our babies. What we do not pray for is to send them onto campuses like we're sending them into a war zone. Easy Breezy said it could be true. These principals tend to get a bonus or extra money not to suspend students that behave badly and bully. I heard that. Someone was telling me, I don't think it was Pearland. I want to say it was Spring Branch ISD. It was either Spring Branch or I want to say it was Spring Branch over here in Houston, where they were not suspending students before the pandemic. Okay? And they need to pay more attention. If these principals are getting kickbacks to keep problematic children around, then the principals, I feel like, should shoulder some of the responsibility and punishment when these sort of things happen, because these children are having abnormal responses to abnormal abuse. Megan says, I was bullied by one girl in 5th grade, and my mom addressed the principal, the girl and her mother, and it never happened again. Right. It's the ignoring. And this is what we cannot afford to do. You never know how far it's going to go. You never know which child is going to go too far in retaliation. And let me say this. We don't know whether the bully is going to be satisfied with picking on your kid and calling names and stealing from them. That's what we don't know, Tina. We don't know. Thanks for the bullseyes, Karen Frazier. See, this is where I have a problem, because by them choosing not to take action, they are literally putting children, innocent children's lives at risk. Zwaki says, last month at school in Cape Town, South Africa, a 15-year-old child allegedly shot an educator to death just because the educator took him on for not doing his homework. See? It's true. He could have gotten it from home. The way the stories were written, I've read multiple articles. Sometimes when things like this happen, I like to read from more than one source so that we can get a better picture of what took place. From what I was able to read, it feels like the way they were writing it, they were alluding to the fact that he went and secured the firearm on his own. Okay? Right. Right. So I wanted to know how a kid of 18 was able to do that. Right. Exactly. Exactly. But, you know, with all of the situations with active shooters on campuses, many of us, unfortunately, have gotten a call like, come pick up the kids. Even my hometown of Ocala, Florida, I've gotten calls out here in Houston from my best friend and sister who's like, you know, my daughter's still at the school, girl. They're saying that there's somebody on campus with a firearm. And when she arrived, there were many other parents who were lined up along the road, standing at the gate, watching with terror, completely terror-stricken, because when it's your child in that situation, you know what I mean? You don't know what to feel, and you don't even know how to breathe or exhale until you see your child. Something is going on in these schools. These children are not just operating in a vacuum. I'm starting to believe that this is not just an issue of they just woke up and they're disturbed and I want to hurt other people. There's something toxic in the environments in these schools. Okay? There's something very toxic in the environments in these schools, and I feel like it's being overlooked, and it's because it's too easy to just look at the children who are acting out without addressing what's really going on and what the underlying issues could be. Because my daddy used to tell me if one person said something, maybe that person's a butthole. Maybe they're an idiot. If it's two people saying something, then maybe they're friends. But when it keeps happening on a recurring basis, what up, cuz? I'm glad you made it. So glad you made it. Y'all tell our cousin, the bishop, hello, please and thank you. Something is going on. First of all, let's talk about these schools, shall we? Now, some of y'all who know me better know I'm active with the schools. I love to donate. I love to pop up. I love to volunteer. I like to do whatever I can. You know, we had our good sis, Mother of Diamond, send uniforms down here to A-Leaf ISD. I made it my business with everything else I got going on to ride around and pass them out and talk to the administrators and find out what else we could do. These are the things that we end up doing as concerned parents. But I can tell you, first of all, these schools are lacking when it comes time to protect our students, and not just from children. You got educators who will also bully and pick with children. And they also display abusive behaviors. Sometimes the abusive behavior can come in the forms of playing favorites and giving extra and added attention and affection to some students while neglecting and alienating others. There's something deeper going on, and we need to look into, are these places even safe for our children at all? Hey, sweet diva. She says, I'm an educator in the Houston area, and there's a lot of that goes on. The family life of many of our students are very disturbing. Many of these parents should have their kids removed. I agree. What part of Houston are you in, Sweet Diva? I didn't know you was close like that, girl. We could have went and got us some lunch. I'm always happy when a sister's close because then I feel like I got family around. But this is the stuff that we got to pay attention to. Like, I'll give you an example. What I went through here in A-Leaf ISD here in Houston, while my daughter was at Owens Intermediate. For those of you who are not familiar with intermediate schools, it's you're out in Spring. Okay, girl, you close. You see my info, holla at me. Hey, Wanda Dessou. Now, what happened with my daughter at Owens intermediate schools are what happens in between elementary and middle. So as not to put the 5th and 6th graders right with middle school kids. Keeps them separate. What I experienced with my child there was nothing short of disgusting. And I'm going to be honest, it doesn't stop me from still supporting the schools or trying to back up the good teachers and the good administrators that are on duty. But what I witnessed and what we experienced at that school was nothing short of disgusting. Okay? Not only was there bullying from other children, that we can handle. You know, I didn't raise any children that are very easy to manage with that type of stuff. So it just is what it is. But the behavior from the staff, the behavior from some of the administrators is what took me by storm. We went through, my daughter had a teacher there. I won't say her name. She was a member of the LGBTQ. She made it her business to make that a part of her lesson plan on almost a daily basis, not even wondering if we wanted that information shared with or given to children of that age, because I don't feel like children that age in my opinion, they don't need to hear about anything sexual. Not even your orientation. That's your business. But I digress. You know, so I tolerated that. I said, well, maybe that's her way of trying to connect with the children or being open. Hey, Adele. Okay. You say you got a niece in A-Leaf? All right. Well, holla at me when you come back this way. So in the process of that, my kid, she likes to cheer. She likes to dance. She did cheerleading one year. The next year, they had an after-school program where she literally started a dance team, started doing all of the choreography and everything. Hey, Nicolette. And so what I saw was full-grown women try to bully a child. And when I looked at these stories, I thought back to what I went through with Emerald, and it made me wonder if Emerald didn't have me, hey, D3B, if Emerald didn't have me as a mother and as support and strong backing, what on earth would have become of my baby? Now, the year prior, she was on cheerleading. And, you know, I had literally all kind of car trouble that year. It was like Murphy's Law. Whatever could go wrong went wrong. So I was late picking her up on one day because my car, literally, the transmission was acting stupid. I got there, but I was like 20 minutes late. So the lady that was coaching was rude. Mind you, instead of her talking to me, she focused her energy on this child, rude to the child. You ain't going to be able to do this and that. I got a life. Just went on and on ranting to a child. So when I arrived, she gave me none of that energy. And when we left, Emerald immediately, because my children do that, started to narrate to me all of the refuse and bile and feces that came from this woman's mouth. So at that point, I made an executive decision. She will no longer be on your cheerleading squad. So the following year, she's doing dance. Those girls got together. They did a lot of great things. She had fun. You know, we had a lovely lady by the name of Miss Bob who helped to coordinate because they have to have an adult even when the kids start a little team or a club. And so she did, and she was awesome. But what happened was nothing short of disgusting. I don't want to go the long way, but I want to just tell you what happened. So they were performing, I think it was either a Black History thing or something happening, and the cheerleading squad was there, and so was the little dance team, Owen's little dance team. And so those two full-grown women who were in charge of the cheerleading squad, they sat there and they stared my daughter down while making rude comments, while rolling their eyes. These were the adults, not the children, adults. And then with the school teacher that we had, the one I mentioned, who was sharing too much of her personal life with babies for my liking, she got in on it. And then she started the bullying and, trying to pick fights with a child and actually becoming incensed, shaking, mobilizing her clear woman tears and crying to pretend that my child was victimizing her simply because she refused to respond. She learned that from her mother. Now, I said all that to say this. If me, myself, I know y'all hear, ugh, she woke up and now she's making noise. So forgive her, please. If that could occur with me, and me being the type of mother who's always present, I'm always on the scene, I am overbearing, I cop to it, I'm not afraid to admit it. It is what it is. You can take it or leave it. If my children are present, so am I. But even with me having such a strong presence, hey, Delicia, it still did not prevent grown people from bullying children. So I said all that to say something's going on in these schools where the children are not safe. These children are responding to something happening in these schools. The other story that I wanted to mention was the shooting at Yes Prep over here in Southwest Houston, one of those charter schools. Now, this young man was a former student. So you got to stop right there. Now, what on earth could have been happening so bad that this young man, who is now 25 years old, returned to where he went to school and committed such an act? Think about it. Now, according to everybody who knew him, he's quiet. He never talked. His mother says he was her good kid. Yeah, and y'all know what she means. We all got the rough ones, and then we got the good ones. And there's a difference. There's a difference. And when a mother says he was my good kid, we all know what that means. So you got to ask yourself, what on earth happened at that place that was so horrific that it tormented him well into his 20s, that he went back, and according to his own statement, he went there looking for an administrator. I want y'all to catch that. The young man said he was going back there for an administrator. Now, fortunately, in both of these instances, no one lost their lives, but they could have. These are institutions of education, which means there are children there. Miss Reese, say it again, because that's exactly what crossed my mind. He may have been abused in some type of way. Something, family, is wrong. If we continue to bury our heads in the sand, we're going to have a rude awakening one day. Something is wrong somewhere. Candy R says, I agree. Teaching is a calling. I used to play school with my siblings and cousins when I was young, and it ended up teaching. I really enjoy. I'm an old school teacher. Lots of love in my classroom. Thank God for you, and we need more like you. But something is wrong. Consider it. This young man is no longer in school. He's 25. He's had years to think, reflect, calm down, and he still came back. Said he found the doors locked. He pow through the door. He ended up hitting the principal, but he wasn't going for the principal. He said there was another administrator that he was after. Right. And you got to ask yourself the real question, which is, how many of our children are we giving PTSD because we're sending them into these educations, into these institutions for education, and they're getting something other than that? Right. You said one of those admins did something drastic. They had to. Something happened. There was some type of trauma that was long lasting, and it was indelibly imprinted on this young man's brain. Something happened. Now, it's easy for us to sit back and say, oh no, I don't believe this. It couldn't have been no bullying. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Too many things are happening. If it was one time, I wouldn't have opened my big mouth to even discuss it. But the fact that it keeps happening over and over and over again, we had better have a rethink. We had better open up our eyes and pay close attention to what's happening to our children in these schools. Sharon White says most of these teachers and admins have been verbally abusing these students during their school years. Exactly. Exactly. You have the verbal abuse. You also have the issue. You also have the issue of physical abuse. And dare I say it, at times, sexual abuse. Ladies, we had better get in the habit of questioning our children when they come home from these places and take everything they say seriously. Stop telling your children they don't know what they're talking about. If your kid comes home and says, Mrs. So-and-so don't like me, don't say, don't you say that, she a teacher. She don't dislike you. You probably did. Stop explaining away what your children are telling you and pay attention. Something is wrong. I'm sorry, but I absolutely believe that young man in Arlington, something did happen. The extent of it, how long it went on, I don't know. I was told that, I don't know whether there's footage or whether someone just gave an account of this young man being beat up and he wasn't even defending himself. He was just being beaten. Something is wrong. If we got principals getting kickbacks not to suspend problematic children, we got children behaving like wild animals on these campuses. We have administrators and teachers who behave like children. Right over at A-Leaf Taylor, I had a teacher lie on my son. She did. Had his sister not been present at the same time, she would have lied and said that my black boy assaulted her. Now, make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. I showed her exactly who she was playing with. But my question is always, and it's always been in my mind, and now it's in the front of my mind, what would have happened if they didn't have a mother that would show up at the drop of a hat and breathe fire if need be? Fly Gray Streaks Plan says, I put nothing past anyone. I know of teachers and administrators who say things to kids that are horrible. Yes, even this year with my daughter cheerleading, there was an adult who went to another child, and she didn't say it to Emerald because it would have been a whole problem. I promise you. Plus, Emmy is tiny, so it probably would have never been said. But this adult teacher went to a child and told her, oh, you made the cheerleading squad, so you need to go on a diet and pull some of that weight off. Not even considering how that could affect that child, how that would affect her psyche and her self-esteem and her self-image. Yes, they will try to put them in special ed when they don't need it. I need us to pay attention. This is me blowing the bullhorn, turning the bullhorn on and blowing the whistle. I need us to pay close attention. D.O. Cutie Pie 21 says they would have broken your child's spirit or perhaps caused her a lot of mental pain if she didn't have a caring mother like yourself. We can't turn our heads and say it's not my business. You doggone right. The same clear woman who tried to mobilize her tears and weaponize her tears against a small black child then sat on the phone with me and basically lied. And when I called her on it, her tears dried up immediately, y'all. Those tears dried up like somebody hit a light switch. Once she realized that the jig was up and I had caught on to her tactics, her manipulative tactics. Candy R says, we had a lot of emergency certified teachers in our district and across the state who did not attend college for education, but had a BS degree. They have no training, and many are not good with children. I believe some of them don't even like the children. Susan says, some schools don't care about the safety of the children. I agree. Sis, I totally agree. But the question then is, as mothers, what is the next step? What is the next step? Hey, Ray. What is the next step? Do we then start looking into homeschooling? Do we make our presence more evident on campus? Because I do pop-ups. I will pop up in a hurry. I don't care nothing about popping up. But something has got to go down because they don't care about the safety of the children. They're watching the bottom line. When they started grading the schools, they were more interested in their grade. And like you said, the principals getting kickbacks for not suspending these problematic and dangerous students, coupled with the fact that we got educators in classrooms who are not prepared, nor do they have any calling or any interest in truly being educators. They just want to be there to collect a check. And a lot of them behave like they are resentful of our children. And let us not forget the fact that when it comes to little Black children, they are never seen as children by most of these people. And yes, sometimes even our Black educators are ones who victimize our babies. Wanda says some of these incidents are starting outside of school and spill over into school. I think there should be more parent participation. I totally agree. Yeah, I saw that, Vita. Auntie Eva says, I had an emotionally disturbed teacher in 5th grade. She wrapped a female's classmate's head and face with masking tape because she yelled out after being bothered by a boy. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. Y'all, something is wrong. We're going to continue to hear stories about one child or the other bringing firearms into places of education. I don't know whether we have become desensitized to it because we hear it so much, but that's serious. There are little babies. Some woman carried that child, each one of those babies, for 9 months, suffered for those children, for them to be put in danger because of conditions that we need to address, and yet somehow they keep being overlooked. Sis says some principals are under the payroll of some parents who think they are so rich and their children can get away with anything. Yeah, that's a problem too. Uggs, you're going to have to chill out. We're talking with our aunties today. Okay? Nicolette said, that's a fact. I see it every day. Every time we have a meeting that comes up, if you don't like Black children, just say that. Right. Exactly. My kid is tiny. She's so small, we call her Sister Tiny. And that woman, if you had heard her crying and saw her shaking and putting on, you would have believed that there was a 6 foot tall, 300-pound gorilla in that classroom that was threatening her life and her existence. Instead of a tiny little girl who clearly who simply said, I don't understand what you mean, and refused to speak while she yelled, screamed, threw a tantrum, cried, shook, and ran out of a room to go and get this, a Black teacher who came in with a cape on. I believe she's also from the League of Mammies, to then lambast the children and tell them that they need to worry about this clear woman's feelings who was victimizing or attempting to victimize a Black child. Now, mind you, y'all, I didn't make it no better, no worse. I took my baby to school the following, I checked her out of school immediately. And then, because I didn't trust them not to do something to my baby. And then I returned and I let the principal know, Dr. Augusta's beautiful woman, that I don't feel safe, because I didn't. This woman was behaving erratically. Outbursts, crying, shaking, screaming. All of these things. So I let her know, I don't feel comfortable. I need you to put her in another classroom until you can investigate this woman. Now, I was nice enough not to demand a drug test, but I probably should have. Sharon White says, my children old school, making it hard for parents to pop up. Oh, no. You can still pop up. You sure can, because I do it. I do the pop up. Maybe it's your district, because it's definitely possible, even in this day and time, the pop up is real. Sweet Diva says, I'm an educator and parents can be in denial regarding how far behind their child is. That's true, but we ain't talking about them being far behind. That ain't the issue. A kid being far behind, those are the kind of things we can rectify, even if it's with just an F on a report card. Okay, so that way, if mama ain't been paying attention, when she see that F, that'll get her attention. We ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the safety issues, the glaring safety issues. And let's talk about something else I saw on these campuses. This was last year again at Owens Intermediate here in Alief ISD. During their after school events and clubs and teams and programs, they were bringing in men, men who look like inmates to help volunteer to help them with basketball and other things of that nature. One of such inmate-esque persons walked up on my child, closed space, in an intimidating fashion. Now, she wasn't intimidated worth a darn because her mama's name is Seanitra. Now, I dealt with it, handled it naturally. But the fact that we keep having to go through these types of things at schools, one, why are there grown men on campuses who are not teachers talking about they volunteering? Listen, I understand that we like to say, oh, we want to see the men involved. I don't necessarily want to see you involved. Not with my children. We don't know who you are. Who did a background check? We don't know whether these people are going to present a physical harm, a sexual harm, or any other to our children. The safety concerns are real. And if you're not paying attention to what's going on, I need you to open your eyes and quickly. Nicolette says, I hate as a special educator with a class full of black boys with autism. I know and hate that some of the white women at school are scared when they have a tantrum. Right. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you the truth. Dead serious. Girl, there were no background checks. And the man, full-grown man, lied and said, no, it didn't happen. I said, well, my child don't lie, so run the tape. Roll that beautiful bean footage. And then after they rolled that beautiful bean footage, he was caught dead to rights. Now, mind you, he pulled it that day, and the same day, I hopped out of my car because that's before my knee got messed up, and I went marching in because I want to see who you are. Now, I made it clear, and mind you, I wasn't ladylike, so y'all have to forgive me, but I made it very clear. You don't behave in a threatening or aggressive fashion with a child of mine or anyone else's child. Now, if you want to fight, and that's what you'd like to do, I'm capable. We can go outside and I'll give you a fade, and it's not a problem. But threatening children is not okay. What disturbed me the most in that situation was that the administration, not the principal, she's, again, a lovely woman. I would never say anything other than glowing compliments to her. She's a beautiful woman, the principal over at Owens. Beautiful lady. But the other administrators, the other people that were on staff, they were more concerned with making me hush. Like, well, let's not talk about it, was the attitude. And, well, sometimes the kids just get upset, and maybe that's just how she felt. They weren't concerned with getting to the bottom of it. They were concerned with shutting mama up. And you're right, Angie. Hell no. I've been warning these people since I've been here. I'm from Marion County, not Harris County. But I can go to Harris County. Never been scared of handcuffs, honey. Sometimes it's a good time. Queen Mermaid said, Los Angeles School District, you need a background check. Well, I'm here to tell you, these people were not checking these men. And they were out there with girl children, no supervision. There were male children as well, but there was no supervision from staff at that school. I brought all that in to say this. That young man that came back at 25 years old, this is what are mathematicians at 7 years after graduation? What on earth happened on that campus that was so traumatic that 7 years later he was still mad enough to come back with fire in his hand? Something is wrong. Exactly, Ray Ray. Ladylike went out the door. I had a dress on, but I had heels I could kick off. I promise you. And he was a little turd of a man, barely came past my shoulder. Had the nerve to tell me he didn't want no smoke. But I said, I don't believe you. I believe you want all the smoke. Because when you see this child here, give her a wide berth. Wide one. I ain't never been afraid of a jail cell. I promise you. Never. And I feel like some parents are more concerned for appearances and they're more concerned for inconvenience than really paying attention to what is happening with these people. Yes, Angie, they can catch one real quick. Real quick. Happy to be happy says I run a background check on myself every month to work with babies. Well, that's good. Nicolette said that's crazy. DC plays no games about the background check. Well, I'm here to tell you, Texas schools leave a lot to be desired. They leave a lot to be desired. Since I've been here, I saw too many instances where they weren't just substandard with their curriculum, they were substandard with their safety, with the quality of their educators. They were substandard with their professionalism. And see, it's breeding problems. On the 1st, Houston. On the 6th, Arlington. Where will it be the next time? Barbara says, oh, you better believe something happened to that 25-year-old. Yeah, for him to come back, something happened. Nobody will convince me it didn't. Alita said the fact that he said he didn't want no smoke, he knew what was up. Yeah, he knew what was up because I said it right there in front of the little jackleg lady that worked at the school, and she was like, "Well, it don't have to come to that." I said, "Baby, it's already we're already there. We don't have to get there. We're there. Once my child is involved, we're there." In my humble opinion, or not so humble, either way it looks, it's never okay for a grown man to behave in a menacing, ominous, or threatening fashion toward any daughter of mine, let alone a 13-year-old. There are so many other things that it would have been safer for him to do, like play in traffic or French kiss a 9. But it disturbed me that they were more concerned with making mama hush. They were like, well, you in the hallway and you loud. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if I'm in the hallway and I'm loud. I don't care. If you don't get him off this campus, I'm going to be on the TV and loud. And I'm going to be online and loud. I'm going to be loud a lot of places. Right. But ladies, we got to come up with something. I don't know whether, if y'all want to come up with something, if y'all want to have a think tank, we can. But we got to put our heads together as mothers because it's clear that our men are not figuring out what to do. I'm not sure if they realize it's a problem or whether sometimes when it comes to the children, as mothers, it's our concern over everybody's. Because it's definitely mine. See, Helene say that's why her baby homeschooling, because she'll lay somebody out. And I would prefer to homeschool, to be honest. But after last year, I will say that my baby was happy to be able to be around her peers. And to be honest, children should be able to interact and have fun and go to be in clubs and be in after school programs with their peers. They need to learn how to have interpersonal relationships with their peers without danger of losing their lives or being abused in some way. Something is terribly wrong. That's all I'm saying. You said need more parents to volunteer at the schools. I agree. Angie said we have arrived. You want smoke, you can get it, period. Amen. Ms. Hicks says when my daughter was in elementary school, all her principal had to do was look at me to know I wasn't happy about something. Right. You got to make your presence known. Don't be one of those people that you're worried about embarrassing your children. My oldest kids are grown. This is the last of the Mohicans. However, I never cared about embarrassing them. I don't care. I know there was plenty of times my children were like, oh my God, I wish we had a nice, soft-spoken mama. I wish she wasn't over here telling people she'll drag them out of the office by their head. I know they wish that I wasn't that type of mother, but I am. And I show up and I pop up. And they know I hold my children accountable. I hold the educators accountable. There's a contract there. I'm trusting you to educate them and keep them safe. And you can trust me to make these children respect you and be obedient and perform to the best of their ability. Nowhere in that understood social contract is I agree to buy Kevlar for my kid because you can't keep firearms off of your campus. And what are these? Let me ask this question too, because I'm just getting it all out and all off me. Why are there resource officers at these schools at all? Yeah, we might need to do something. If y'all think we need to circulate a petition, let me know. I know I got a lot going on, but I'll help. Do the Right Thing says you would be surprised to see how few parents bother to even show up on open house. I don't show up on open house. I'm going to tell you I don't. Because I know by the time they do open house, those people have already become well acquainted with Miss Locker. And I know they don't want to see me another time. Plus, I reach out weekly, every Friday, to get an update on grades. Weekly, I pop up. If Emmy's not understanding something and she come tell me she done asked you more than once, now I'm about to ask you, is there additional information you can give me so I can help her since your hands are full? That's right, Angie. My mama was one of those too. So I don't care nothing about embarrassing a kid. The resource officers are the police officers that are usually stationed on the campus. But I don't understand what they're there for because it's not stopping anything. I'm still trying to figure out for the life of me, where are the metal detectors? I wish somebody could tell me that. Lady Di says, what's sad is the pandemic was a relief to some children because they was home and it stopped the bullying from students and faculty. Girl, and the and faculty part is what bothers me the most. And it almost looks like if they see bright children, they go in for the kill. I don't understand it. And you say you always did pop-ups. Yeah. Yep, I'm one of those mamas. You're going to always find me. Hey, Crystal. Something is wrong, ladies. That's all I'm saying. That's why it's like, can we just talk? I know it's some other stuff going on in the news and in the gossip, the whole Dave Chappelle and Oprah conversation. We'll take that to the front porch. The whole Nicki Minaj, Potomac, her trying to defend somebody blackfishing. I know it's disgusting, but we'll talk about that on the porch. I wanted to have the conversation about our children. Because that young man in Arlington, unless I'm mistaken and I was looking at the wrong pictures, that was one of our children. Now, that's the impression I got. As well as the young man here in Houston at Yes Prep. That was one of our children. You don't hear about our children randomly doing anything. They haven't gone that mad yet. Something's going on. And listen, y'all, we better pay attention. Queen Mermaid says, yes, you need a petition and you need to address letters to the school board, superintendent, city council, governor, senator with any demands. Okay, so as a group, what does that look like? Does that look like we draft a letter and send it to all of our individual superintendents, school board, city councils, governors, and senators? Because we can. We can come together and draft a letter and then make sure that it's on PDF or downloadable so we can download it and submit those letters out. And then as far as the petition, we need to circulate it. We need to demand metal detectors at all these schools. How is it possible? How is it that we keep hearing about active shooters where we have babies? You suffer to get children. You suffer to raise children, only to send them to school for somebody to put their lives in jeopardy. Nobody can tell me that makes sense. This little girl getting on my nerves over here, y'all. One of y'all gonna have to get her. Candy R says my mother was always present, and we had better not lie about anything because she would find out. So we knew just to tell the truth. Exactly. But it also, your presence does more than just keep your children on their toes. Ladies, your presence keeps the teachers and the administrators on their toes. Not only be present, I think we need to ask questions. Don't be afraid to question these people. As a matter of fact, don't be afraid to interrogate them if you like. Little girl, y'all gonna have to get y'all friend. She took a nap and now she on that bull crap. But at the end of the day, ask questions. When that woman came to me and she said Emma raised her voice, I said, okay, I know that's a lie. So let me just ask probing questions. I said, what did she say when she raised her voice? Well, she said that she didn't know what I was talking about. I said, why would she yell to say that? Were you across the room? Was she angry? What reason would she have? Well, maybe she didn't, but it sounded like her voice was higher than normal. Ask questions. Let them know. No, I don't just take your word for it. Stop taking these teachers and administrators' words for anything. If you go there to ask questions, ask the questions. That's right. That's what I'm saying, Susan. We got to be accountable as parents. And what accountability looks like for a parent is to be present, to hold your child to a standard, and to also hold these educators to a standard. Make sure they are aware that you're not going to tolerate any foolishness from either side. Let them know, hey, I got your back when it comes to educating my kid. I appreciate you doing what you do because I cannot. However, if I have to come out here, I'm holding everybody's feet to the fire. Everybody better have their ducks in a row. If my child is in the wrong, I'm going to deal with them in the harshest way possible. And if I find one of you to be in the wrong, then we'll see what that looks like. Whether it's me calling the police, whether it's me calling the Department of Children and Families and reporting you, whatever it looks like. And I've done both on campuses. And I feel like we need to kind of take a more radical approach, a more active and assertive approach to being mothers we're taking our children, it looks like, into the belly of the beast. In the middle of it, and we're dropping them off and hoping for the best. Angie says, I taught at my daughter's school in her early years, and the teachers at the school knew that I was on the second side of crazy, and my daughter did too. Well, sometimes it's better that they know. I would rather that you know than to not know. I don't want to surprise anybody. So I don't mind if they know that I'm a little special. That's okay. But I just wanted to kind of bring that out and, just have a talk about it and see what everybody's thinking and what we're feeling. But honestly, if you ladies want to get together and draft a petition, I'm for it. We can use the Royal Family's media room at any time to sit down and get that drafted, as well as letters to send out to school board, superintendent, local government, state government, senators, whatever that looks like. We need to do something. Because it's very disheartening to have to keep hearing about school shootings. So much so that they're having active shooter drills. How is it that you got the wherewithal and the presence of mind to plan and execute a drill for a shooter, but you don't have anything in place to prevent it? You just got drills for once it starts happening. Y'all, this is not safe. Not by any means. Y'all, this thing is trying to bite my finger. Let me read some of you guys' comments. Candy R says, absolutely, parents should be visible. If you have nothing to hide, parents are free to come in the school and classroom. I'm always welcoming. I had daily meetings before and at the end of the day. That's right. Queen Mermaid says, yes, your tax dollars go to schools. They need to do better. Parents need to be engaged. You are a parent before everything. Very true. Nicolette says, this is a lot for kids to have to deal with. It is. And if you think these children are leaving these schools with no PTSD, with all of this trauma and having to be afraid and doing drills on what's going to happen one day when their lives are threatened, if you think that that's not damaging to a child's psyche, you're as crazy as these people are. Yes, school board meetings, very important. Hey, Queena, make sure they know you. Your children are counting on you. And we're seeing very clearly that these people that work at these schools and in administration and even on the school boards, they don't care that much about our babies. DT says, I come from 3 generations of teachers, and I'll most likely fill the next generation. LOL. So while parents do need to be held accountable, So do teachers. You say that's all I can say on that. I know that's right. An ounce of prevention is priceless. And we got to do something. We really have to do something. Now, y'all, that's our hour. I'm not going to stay too much longer. Baby girl does have a game this evening, so I will be present as always. I'm the cheerleader this year. Sweet Diva says, when I worked on the high school level, students would open the door for students. Wait, hold on. High school level students would open the door for students that no longer attend the campus so they could fight other students. Oh, wow. I can believe it. Say voting for the school board is important also. It is. But what happens when both people that are running for school board or all parties have problematic records? Okay, Helene says she don't know what's going on over there in Vegas, but a lot of the teachers and the staff quit over there. So listen, ladies, I'm going to leave it at that. And Karen says, bye, Uggs. Thanks for your participation. She was definitely trying to participate in the conversation, and clearly she's never going to school. So I'm not sure why she was participating, but Uggs, good looking out. Listen, y'all, if I come back this evening, I'll let you know ahead of time. I'll do better about the notifications. But thank y'all for being here so we could have a talk about the state of what's happening at these schools, the safety of our children, and what we can do to mobilize as mothers. Okay? I really appreciate you all. There's my information. Thank you so much, DT. I don't know what we do without you. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. If you already hit the like button again, I thank you. And if you hadn't, please make sure that you hit the like button on your way out. Okay? Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Join channel membership if you want to become an official member of the royal family. And if you need assistance getting that done, please use my contact information that DT put in the chat or that is scrolling across the screen. We have sisters who can and will sponsor, and as well as myself, I don't mind sponsoring either. So I thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you either later this evening or tomorrow at Good Morning Royals, because I do not have an appointment tomorrow morning. All right. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Talk to you later.